What tools do you use to keep control of your mind? I can't fathom being a spy and having to manage my anxiety. Like, that'd be nuts. No way. I would not excel at this.
So, I mean, anxiety is a challenge. Anxiety is a challenge, but I will also tell you that CIA recruits heavily for people that have anxiety.
For people that have anxiety?
People that have.
What?
So what are some of the superpowers about having anxiety?
You're paranoid all the time. Yeah.
Huge advantage,
God
dude.
Damn, I worry that I would give myself away.
So here's what the other nice thing about people with anxiety is that they have a very real idea of where their true limits are, because their true limits are tied oftentimes to their level of comfort. So you're like, I would never do these things. You can fathom espionage because we've been talking this whole time, and you clearly have a very strong line of sight into how it works, right? It's just psychology. You said it yourself. So absolutely, you can fathom it. So it's really just a question of whether or not you have the competency and the skills to execute it. Today, you might not. Well, guess what? We spend 3, 4, 5 weeks together, even doing just superficial training, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, I think I could do this. Like, I've got anxiety, but I think I could do this. My wife is deployed all over the world. She is general anxiety disorder. What's it called? When you're diagnosed, and she has been medicated for her own anxiety disorders.
Wow.
She's operated all over the world, right? Because she learned the skills. Another lesson that I think is really important that the agency gives us. Yeah. And I apologize if I'm stepping on your toes in any way here.
Step away.
People sell confidence, right? There's books out there about how to be confident. There's fucking TED Talks about all you got to do is stand like this and you're going to be confident, right? Confidence is a perception, not a real thing. Confidence is how you perceive your own emotional reaction or your own emotional relationship with the environment around you. Confidence doesn't exist. It can't be measured. It can't be improved or reduced. Confidence is a non sequitur. It's an empty word. What we mean when we say confidence is competence. We want competence in what we're doing, because the more competent you are, the more comfortable you are executing, right? The more comfortable you are executing, the more comfortable you are taking risks, which is when you take a risk, it's called courage, right? So there's this relationship between confidence, competence, and courage that we just, because of all the unethical business owners out there, they just summarize it all as confidence, and they try to sell you some course that tells you if you look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know, you're worth it, you deserve to succeed, somehow you're going to have more confidence. Or if you stand like this, you're going to have more confidence. Confidence is tied directly to competence. If you increase your knowledge in something, you increase your competence, you are able to give your rational logic side of your brain, the left side of your brain, you're able to give it more accurate information from which it can use to process a probability matrix of your successful outcome, right? It's all about making good decisions. Another Bill you quote, right? It's all about making good decisions. You make good decisions when you have superior information. You have superior information when you have superior competence. The more competent you are in a skill, the more courageous you are to take risks revolving around that skill. That's all there is to it. So CIA can take anybody off the street, anybody, teach them the competence, increase their competence in the right skills, and then deploy them to execute an operation. They have to be able to do that because the diversity of the targets that you need to talk to are as diverse as the gene pool in the United States. Sometimes you need somebody who is on the spectrum. Sometimes you need somebody who's on a non-neurotypical person to go out there and execute an operation. So you have to be able to teach them the competent skills to go do it. Sometimes you need somebody who's handicapped. Sometimes you need somebody who's obese. Sometimes you need somebody who's old. Sometimes you need somebody who's like surprisingly young. You need all sorts of people because the individual who executes the operation is tailored to fit the operation because they need to get through the public life and the private life into the secret life as quickly as possible.
Do you know what Stuxnet is?
Yeah.
Okay, so give people a quick primer in the context of that was the moment that I realized, oh, there's a whole world happening that I just didn't realize was real. I thought it was only in movies, but like this whole espionage game is deep.
Is deep. Yeah. So, and I would love to go more into that too. But so Stuxnet, quick primer. Stuxnet was a piece of code that was developed specifically to interact with what we knew at the time to be the software system running Iranian uranium enrichment
facilities.
Yeah, there was a very specific tool. It was
reactor.
No. It's going to come back to me here. The what is it when something
Centrifuge.
The centrifuge word. That's the
I just
word.
won whatever game we're
Boom.
playing.
So Stuxnet was a piece of code that was designed specifically to interact with the centrifuge that was used to enrich uranium in Iranian facilities. That's what it was designed to do. It was deployed, it was successful, and then the Iranian facility connected those centrifuges with the larger internet. And when that happened, Stuxnet continued to propagate out of the Iranian facility and into the entire digital universe. So depending on whose story you read, right now, essentially every digital device that's been connected to the internet at any point since like 2007 is infected with Stuxnet.
That's crazy.
But Stuxnet was so well designed that it only has a negative effect on the centrifuge operating system that was used by the Iranian nuclear facility at the time.
So bananas. Okay, so how deep does a rabbit hole go? Like, there's like a whole battle being fought. Ray Dalio talks about the 5 types of war. One of them is technological. How deep is that war?
The espionage war or the technological war?
The espionage war.
So let's start with the espionage war, because this is a point that I love making that not everybody understands, right? 2016. The election where Trump became president, it became mainstream news that the Russians were suspected to be interfering with the election. And the world went crazy, right? The American people went bananas. FBI, Secret Service, Facebook had to change their algorithms. Twitter was on the chopping block for contributing to Russian covert influence operations, right? You remember.
Oh, yes.
Why the hell do we think 2016 was the first time that happened? Why would we think that? Because we caught them in 2016? I mean, if we caught them in 2016, how many elections did they influence successfully before that where we never caught them? And that's just one country. What about China? What about France? What about Israel? What about Germany? What about Brazil? What about India? I mean, there's as many countries out there. There's 64, I think, countries right now.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
Every one of them has something to gain by influencing the outcome of the American election. Why would we think that nothing ever happened prior to 2016? Why would we think that the presidents we've elected, even in just yours and mine timeline, why do we think Bush was chosen by the American people? Why do we think Obama was chosen by the American people? Why do we think these people came to power of their own independent, uninfluenced, no foreign activity, hard work? It's probability-wise, it's extremely unprobable. Like it's improbable that these people came to power and there wasn't also some country engaging in covert influence that was contributing to the outcome of the election.
Jesus.
That's how deep it goes. It's silly for us to think that just because we see it, that means that it started then. It's like seeing a roach in your apartment, right? If you see a roach in your apartment, that's not the only roach. The walls are disgusting with roaches, right? We saw it in 2016. That means it's been there for a long, long time. Why do we think George Washington became the first president of the United States? Because he earned it and the American people voted for him? France was the reason we won the American Revolution. You don't think that had something to do with, you don't think France had a say in who became the leader of the new United States? Now, I'm not saying that all of our presidents have been given to us by foreign powers. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am,
part of the equation.
it's a part of the equation. And you can't ignore that part of the equation, right? So now we have our entire political system is constantly embroiled in some sort of battle with espionage. And that's just our political system. Our DOD, I don't know how much you keep up with espionage news. Russia has penetrated the Army's medical corps. 2 Army officers were arrested just 3 months ago.
Whoa.
Recruited spies, recruited by the Russians. Yeah. We've had nuclear naval engineers recruited by the Chinese who have also been arrested in the last 3 to 4 months.
I heard about that one.
Like, we are heavily penetrated, heavily targeted, heavily penetrated by all the services in the world. And there's a famous quote out there in the world of foreign policy that says there are no permanent friends or enemies, just permanent interests.
Whoa. That's good.
So why do we think anybody is a friend? Why do we think an ally is a friend? If you recall, there was a major issue, I think it was 2010, maybe 2011, where the German chancellor was notified that the American NSA was spying on the Germans.
Whoa. We
have had people go to jail from our Navy who were recruited and working as spies for the Israelis.
What?
Like, this history tells you the story. It's just that nobody really spends time researching espionage history. So we have to understand how laughably predictable are human beings. We are so laughably predictable that you and I can predict that people aren't even aware that arrests are happening every few months of spies in the United States, in the military, in politics, right? In the Department of State, in the Department of Commerce, in the White House. Like, it's not surprising unless you let yourself be surprised, which, again, it's a predictable human thing to just, if we don't know about it, then it must not exist. And then it's also predictably human to assume that a friend is a friend. There are no permanent friends, right? There are people from my life, 13 to 25, that are not my friend anymore because our interests diverged. And that's normal and that's natural. And it's also normal and natural to feel pain when you outgrow somebody or when you have to leave somebody behind because your interests have diverged. And the saddest thing to me is the people who, when they feel that pain, when they feel that dissonance of leaving behind something from the past, they instead choose to give up on the ambition and double down on the anchor.